everybody, I'm Tiffany, and today I'm going to be doing a book review. First of all, I just want to start off in saying I am sick a little bit right now, so if my voice for some reason sounds really weird, that's probably why, because I'm a little congested. But I wanted to go ahead and do the book review because I just finished this book like literally yesterday from recording this, and I wanted to talk about it before I forgot everything because I already started another book because I really wanted to start it. So the book I am doing a review on today is Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow, or Glasgow. I'm going to go with Glasgow. This is a debut novel, and before I go further, I'd just like to let you know this was an ARC. It came out, I believe, on August 30th, so the actual published full edition is actually out. But I wanted to let you know it's an ARC that I read just because I know sometimes stuff can change from the time you get the ARC to the time that it was actually published. There was 400 pages in this one, and then on Goodreads it said the final copy had like 416. So I figured that I would go ahead and still do a book review on it just because I feel like I got all the important things, and unless the ending changed, I'm pretty sure I got the ending too. I really liked this book. It is a contemporary, which is also kind of different for me because I think I mentioned it in another video. I don't read a whole lot of contemporaries. Nothing against contemporaries, I think they're awesome. I just usually prefer fantasy and adventure and sci-fi and that type of stuff, where contemporaries are usually more of a love story or they talk about certain issues. Like contemporary books, they're the type of books that even if they're super duper good, but it's not like I'm turning the pages and cannot stop myself. Like if I have to put the book down, I'm able to put the book down. Do you know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying? I was excited to read it, not just because I do want to read more contemporaries, because I'm pretty sure if I read more, I'd enjoy them a little bit more. For those of you who want statistics, Girl in Pieces right now has a 4.52 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. That's pretty awesome. And the synopsis of this really is that it follows a girl named Charlie who does end up cutting herself. Dark subject. So it basically follows her journey with that. It starts out in a clinic. It's a clinic for people who basically self-harm, but then it goes past that into what happens to her after she gets out of the clinic. Now that's not a spoiler. A majority of it takes place outside of it. So, you know, it's not like most of it takes place in the clinic and then a little bit of it is like her on the outside. No, a lot of it is her on the outside. I know that it is a dark subject matter, but I think Kathleen Glasgow did a really great job of just doing it in a way that doesn't make you necessarily feel uncomfortable. And Kathleen Glasgow does a really good job of balancing dealing with this issue, but also focusing on other stuff that happens in her life besides this issue. And it does play into the story somewhat. I mean, of course it does, but it's not in the way you think, I guess. You have to read it to get what I'm saying. I really like the writing style. If you're looking for a fast read, I'd say this is definitely a fast read just because of the way it's written, because the chapters are really short. Like that. Like that's the first chapter. That's the whole first chapter. Alright? Just that. That's it. You go through the chapters pretty fast, and I like that type of writing style because I don't know if you're like me, but there's something so gratifying when you finish a chapter in the book. It's like amazing. You're like giving yourself a high five because another chapter down, let's go. So when they're really short chapters, you feel really happy every single time you complete one, and since there's so many, oh, it's fabulous. That's really all I can really tell you without completely spoiling you. I really just want to go ahead and jump into this and talk about plot points and stuff. So, sorry non-spoilery people, but you should probably leave now unless you really want to be spoiled, but I really suggest you don't be spoiled because I think you'll really enjoy this book. Go read it. It is awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today, non-spoilery people, and I'll talk to you later. Just read it, then come back, okay? Okay. Alright. Bye, non-spoilery people. Alright. Time for spoilery stuff. So if you haven't left, this is your own fault. This book pleasantly surprised me, definitely. I just really loved the way it was written. It did it in such a way that really made you want to keep reading. Especially with Charlie as the main character, you don't know about her past right away. It's not just stated openly. No, you find out piece by piece. So you're trying to figure out what's happening, and that's what keeps you reading. All you have to do is mention a name. Alice. You're like, who's Alice? So you keep reading. Then you find out a little bit more about Alice. You find out something happened to her. You're like, what happened to Alice? So it was just really, really cool. cool how just the little puzzle pieces fell into place and just kept pulling you in. Also, I really loved the main character, Charlie. It was just a really well-written, well-developed character, but also I just came off of those Vampire Diaries books, alright? And those characters are annoying. So having Charlie, I was like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. Her attitude sometimes, in a way, can maybe come off annoying, but for me it wasn't. I felt very close to her and I was riding through all her emotional waves. Like, that's awesome to me, when I can feel angry like the character's feeling angry. Because sometimes, you know, like a character will get angry at something and you're like, why in the world are you getting angry at this? Stop being angry and move on with your life. But with her, I felt her anger. I was with her and I was like, I get you. You deserve to be angry. Yeah. For me, the most emotional part of the book, though, was actually near the beginning when she's in the clinic. And I'm not usually like a crier or anything with books. Like, I feel the feels. I get choked up, but I don't know why. Just tears don't come streaming down my face constantly. This part really did get to me. I didn't cry, but it did. It was just so heartbreaking. As you're finding out about Charlie's past, you realize that she did not have a really great childhood, like at all, no, not at all. You're feeling really bad for her, and the clinic is kind of like her safe haven. This is how she gets away from all the horrible stuff that has happened to her. And what happens? Her grandma, who's paying for this place, something happened to her. We never find out what, and now she can't pay for her to be in the clinic. Charlie has to leave. And Charlie's breakdown during that was so heart-wrenching for me because I felt for her. I felt so bad. Her mom seemed horrible. She maybe had Mikey, but she didn't really have anybody else. And I felt horrible for her. And I really wanted her to be able to stay there. That was the part I got the most choked up on because she's telling Casper everything that's been happening to her in her life. And it made me really sad. And I was like, can we please make her stay? And it threw me also, I think, because I really thought the book was going to go where she's in the clinic and she gets better in the clinic and then she leaves and goes into the real world. But no, she leaves before she can be fully healed in the clinic. And that was scary too, because I didn't know what was going to happen. But she does end up going to live with Mikey, which does end up helping her. So that was a sigh of relief because I thought she was going to have to go back to her mom. And I was like, oh my god, what's going to happen though? For the love triangle, this was actually a point that kind of bothered me in the book. It's not really a love triangle, but you kind of have two love interests. One is Mikey and the other is Riley. So Mikey, as we figure out, was Charlie's friend a long time ago, and Ellis, who was Charlie's best friend also. But Charlie really liked Mikey. When Mikey comes to help her, she's ecstatic because she thinks that Mikey is going to maybe possibly be with her. And I'm really excited for her. I like Mikey at the beginning and I think he's really sweet. I want it to work out between those two. And I thought he was going to be the main love interest at the very beginning. And I truly felt horrible for Charlie when you find out that he has a girlfriend, but I didn't really blame Mikey for anything because, he moved on with his life. What can you expect? And she should not have kissed him. That was a bad thing to do, Charlie. So his reaction afterwards was understandable, trying to let her know in a way that this can't happen between them. He doesn't feel that way type thing. I get that. But my opinion changed just because of what he said next. He goes, look, you know why I moved away? Because you and Ellis were exhausting. All you did was think about yourselves. And I was like, what in the world are you doing? This girl just got out of a clinic because she was cutting herself. She almost killed herself. And you're being that mean to her already? I get what he's doing. He's saying get your act together. But no, there's better ways to do that. I wanted her to kind of snap at him a little bit and be like, look, I've gone through a lot, okay? It got me really angry. I did not like that he said that. And after that, I don't know, just Mikey, I didn't like him after that. Not just because of that comment, but I don't know, just the way he treated Charlie. He was nice to her, but does anybody else feel this with me? It was just this weird vibe. I feel like he should have been nicer to Charlie. That's my main thing. And then he goes off and gets married and everything. Good for him, but I don't know. It just feels like he's not paying attention completely to Charlie's feelings. And I get it. He's in love. that's fine. But you should take into consideration that you probably shouldn't be telling her all this stuff when she just admitted she liked you a lot. Come on, man, think a little bit. And because of that, I got really angry when he started talking about Riley and saying that he was a horrible person. He ended up being right, so she should have listened to Mikey. But at that time, I still wasn't really sure. Riley, the other love interest of the story, really the main love interest of the story, at the very beginning, I really liked him. Kind of like Mikey. He had a lot of charm about him, of course. That's his thing. And he seemed very flirty and just kind of awesome. And you know, he was a little bit off, but I didn't really think much of it. I thought, okay, she's gonna go for Riley, and Mikey's gonna be completely forgotten. So when Mikey said to her, be careful around Riley, I was like, dude, no, no, no. Go away, get married to Bunny, let her do her thing here. Riley, though, he just gave off a good vibe at first, and it completely turned in a completely different direction than what I was expecting. I really thought that what was going to happen was Riley was messed up, and then he accepted her in a way. Like, he treated her like I felt like she should have been treated, where he's like, don't hide your scars. At the beginning, it felt like he was just like, I accept you, you're fine. I don't care really about what happened in the past to you necessarily, in a sweet way. And so I thought, they are going to fall in love, they're going to be kind of messed up, but they're going to end up helping each other a whole lot, and they're going to have this wonderful love, and Mikey's going to be wrong. Boy, was I wrong. Riley ended up becoming a very horrible person. It kind of switched for me because in books you can kind of tell when something isn't going to last necessarily with romance, depending on when they end up getting together. If it takes the whole book for them to get together, or near the end of the book, and then you have a little bit of them together, then there's a possibility they're going to stay together. With how early those two got together in here, Charlie and Riley, you knew it wasn't going to end well. And the fact that I didn't realize he was like 27 until like more than halfway through this book, and I was like, oh, never mind, let's get away from that. He just slowly made me more mad. Like him getting her to do the drugs, I was like, Charlie, what are you doing? Don't go get the drugs for him. And what does she do? Of course she gets the drugs for him. I'm like, what is going on? And her life is spiraling out of control. And it's mostly because of him. It's mainly because of him. And I just really grew to hate him. And it was frustrating me because Charlie so many times could have been like, I'm dumping you, you are a horrible person, goodbye. And she's so close so many times, but no, she doesn't leave him. And I know she's emotionally scarred, but oh my god, it was so frustrating. After the whole scene, he finds her cutting kit basically and freaks out about that and almost hits her. I was like so excited the next scene because she was like, no, you almost hit me. She was angry, but then what happened? He used his charm and she started to melt, and I'm like, no, Charlie, stay strong, stay strong. But no, she doesn't stay strong. That was a horrible relationship. I was so mad because I was so wrong about it. I was waiting this whole entire book for another person to come in. Like, that's what I thought was going to happen, was that another dude was going to come in who did art or something of that nature, and then they were going to fall in love, and Riley was going to be forgotten, Mikey was going to be forgotten, and voila! Happily ever after. I just wanted her to find love, and she wasn't finding love. Speaking of the art stuff, though, I was kind of surprised it didn't develop further. Ariel mentions an art class to Charlie, and Charlie really likes to draw. And for most of the book, it's kind of forgotten about, until finally she sees Riley flirting with another girl, and she ends up deciding, okay, I'm going to do this for myself and I'm going to do this art thing. But then it doesn't really develop into anything. I mean, she's supposed to do the art show and she doesn't show up. I would have loved to see her in the art classes more, just because that was her own thing and drawing was her savior type thing. So it definitely took a loop again when Blue came. I love Blue. Blue was fantastic to me. She's really messed up, I know, but she's trying to get better, and you feel for her too. And you can tell she does have really good intentions, like she's not trying to be bad or anything. But oh my god, that scene. They find out Louisa, she killed herself. Such sad stuff happens to them. So Blue does drugs again, which she's been trying to stay off of, and she's at Riley's, and Charlie sees Riley making love to Wendy, who's like his dealer. Oh, I was like, oh no, nope, this is not gonna go well. And what happens? Charlie gets upset, leaves, of course, and goes to her room. I was so mad at Wendy because Wendy went to her room and trashed everything. I was like, oh my gosh, that is horrible. And I know Blue tried to protect all of it, but everything of Charlie's was destroyed basically, except for Luis's journals. That was absolutely terrible. I was mad at her. I was like, can somebody, like, can Blue, like, fight her? You could just tell it was going to happen. I was waiting for this whole book to start cutting again, and what does she do? She does. And I don't know how this book was gonna end. I was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? I was freaking out, and thank God for Linus. Linus saved the day, saved her. This book just sent you in so many different nerve-wracking things because you don't know what's going to happen. I really did like the ending. I felt like it did wrap up everything really, really nicely. You definitely wanted closure with Riley. In a sense, I wanted her to tell him off. It was definitely different than what I thought. She did admit that she loved him, which was really sad. And I was really happy at the end when she read the note and that he actually said that he loved her too. I don't know if it's necessarily true, and I think they, in a weird way, kind of helped each other. It caused Riley to end up having to go to a rehab center and really try and change his life. And it just was nice because you don't really get a sense from Riley that he really cares about her, just to see the letter at the end saying that he did. That's really all I have to say about this book. I know I've been rambling for a while now. Go check it out yourself if you haven't read it yet. I don't know what you're doing here still if you haven't read it yet. And let me know what you think, you know? Let me know. What do you think? What do you think? Guys, thank you for joining me today. If you have any other book or movie recommendations, leave them in the comments below, whoop, whoop, and I'll check them out, I'll write them down. I always have your suggestions, don't worry. I know sometimes it might seem like it might take a while before I get to them, but I have them and I won't forget them, so don't worry, I'll remember. Have a wonderful, amazing, awesome, spectacular day. Thanks for joining me. Go check out Girl in Pieces. Love it. Love it. Hopefully you'll love it. And yeah, have an awesome day and don't forget to be awesome! Alright, bye!